She was hanging upside down.
I sat in on some of the virtual meetings that
Yeah,
occurred when she had to get a little strict towards the end of things, when we were
Yeah.
running up on the deadline.
Seeing the rest.
like I told you, it looks like it's right back where it was before you ever mentioned it. I'm just about to, I'm just gonna close the account out
Vehicle yesterday.
into the street.
The thing is, when we reached out, they're like, oh yeah, we're owed that money and this is what needed to be done.
I'm serious, we could've used it.
Like, everybody knows what they need to do and it's just like, everybody's like, hey,
Well, we have now, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
We had to make, the 2 trips.
well, Dave, if push comes to shove, maybe they'll just work up an addendum to their contract removing that dollar.
They probably were talking to each other and
They'd
just-
like to do first. Finish the list or sign the addendum so you can take the money out of the contract.
No kidding.
Call it.
County's redid 400, so it's a racetrack. I mean, it's smooth.
Yeah, I got it on here separately, so we can just click over to it, it's kind of a scrolling one, so it's very good.
Talk about grammar.
Took a little nap.
You did a lot better than I did. Good for you. Yeah, that wasn't
They
much.
have a schedule, but there's no, PD? Scott? They have a schedule, but it doesn't say what day they're picking up, so is this the same day?
It says Sunday, that's what I read. That's, put it out Sunday, yeah. Yeah, they got my trash today, so I assume it's the same day. Holy crap. Oh, where's that at?
Yesterday, 29,400 south.
Stop. No one wants to see that.
Camera did.
Not like that, they don't call you for that.
No. Local cameras, shit like that.
We can fix this.
Yeah, you'd say that. We were, no, you'd replace it.
They found a leak back here. They had an original contractor to put the roof on, come back. He came back this last week and made a couple patches. And they're gonna, that's the guy that's working on the second floor. He's gonna come up, start working on this back wall the next week. Yeah, they're gonna start working on cleaning all that up for us.
Thank you.
That's not gonna change our idea about having a
Pickup
new
truck.
audio system, right?
But,
That's not changing our idea about having a new audio system here.
no, let's hope they can keep it dry. Yeah, we're dreaming big.
Where's the chief? He's the acting chief.
She knows that.
I know, really, that she knows that.
That wasn't her question.
That's like it, right?
Tomorrow or Wednesday would be my guess. Yeah, yeah. Well, he actually told me, because I thought it was 10 days, and he's the one that told me, no, you have till Friday to get it in.
She wants to be chief.
Chris, they get this started? Well, it's 5:29 by my watch. Yeah,
got 40 seconds, Chris, but I'm going to get this thing started right on schedule. All right, it is 5:30. We'll get the Finance Committee started. The first thing on the agenda is just an overview of the budget, the proposed budget for 2026. All this is for, you guys, we've gone through the two different sections. We've talked to the department heads. This is basically what's going to be published as our advertisement of our budget. There's a few changes from the discussions we had. Most of them were recalculating different things, FICA, making sure that they're correct. What I'd say is the way it's currently laid out, the actual general fund budget comes to just over $15 million, I believe. Let's see here. $15,185,965 is going to be the published general fund budget, which is basically where all of our salaries and whatnot are for the different departments. But within that, we have the ability, we were going to send somebody to look for you, Kelly. That's a joke from earlier today. But there's enough flexibility in there. What we'll probably do is after we get this published, we'll have a finance meeting to look at some possible projects that we could use our GEO bond money for the capital improvements that we've got in here, which will give us the flexibility if there's any issues with the budget as it's currently published. For the department heads, I would just suggest, Tyler, can you email this PDF to all of the department heads so that you can review your budgets individually, and then what we're going to do, we'll have a meeting to have department heads, any questions, any concerns about different things within your budget, we'll then deal with those. And if you don't have any, just let us know, or if you don't show up at the next finance meeting for that, we'll assume everything's fine.
But what if we have questions and they show up?
And what
because
if we have
questions?
changes?
If
we'd
you
like to
have questions for a department head, we'll need to know that in advance so they can be here, yes.
Okay.
We have to tell them that we're going to question it?
If there's issues within a budget, we need to know so that we can let those representatives be here, yes.
Do
So
I contact them or do you?
let me know and I'll contact the ones that would need to be here that might not be here on their own, so. Yep. But like I said, most of what people ask for is in their budget because we can go backwards, we can't go forwards. I actually had a conversation today with Andy Mauser, who's been doing a review of SB1, trying to figure out exactly where our revenue projections will be for the next couple years. And he said he'd probably have something for us by Wednesday. It may not be perfect, but it'll sure give us an idea, and we'll go from there. So we'll probably try to meet, I'm hoping to meet, we have our council meeting on the 6th. Budget time's always bad, but I figured if we met on the 5th, 7 days, the 13th, then on the next following Monday, they give us a week to change anything that needs to be changed on the budget before the adoption of the budget on the 20th. So if you would like for Tyler to print you a copy of the budget as it currently stands, he has the PDF. He could print you off one and put it in your mailbox or whatever you'd like. Did anyone have any real concerns that jumped out at them at this point? Like I said, most of the things that we talked about are the same. There were some minor adjustments to some numbers. Basically, all departments are getting, for the most part, a 3% increase across the board in their wages. And that's, like I said, pending on what we find out from Andy on our revenue. Our economic development total is in there. It's $1,100,000 next year if we leave everything in there that I've been asked to put in there. We've got several representatives here tonight to discuss their requests, and then on the 9th, we'll have the rest of them come in to discuss their CEDAT funding. Are there any concerns or questions that people want to bring up on the budget at this? I mean, you had a chance, hopefully, to look at it. I realize with Frontier on the blink, for anyone that had Frontier over the weekend, you know what it was like. It didn't get out as quickly as I'd hoped. So, okay. Any questions or concerns at this point?
I did want to ask, I know that we discussed this, and I just wanted to, I don't know, just confirm it, that the 911 combined dispatch is the number of $250,000. That's gonna, that's a definite?
It will, well, we are currently at a little over 100,000 at the halfway point this year on what the city's share of 911 is. And 911 is going to be an issue of discussion as we move forward. They're in need of a whole new system. They went in front of the council, the county council the other day. I sat in just to listen, and the request to upgrade their workstations with all the new technology. The technology they have is being phased out. It's hard to get parts anymore, and it'll be completely, I think, 2028 or 2030, they're absolutely, you can't get anything for them. It's been in place since 2004, and they're starting to have issues with it. And like I said, their vendors have told them that everyone's going to have to change out of this system and into the new one in the next few years. About $800 and some thousand to split with the county on that. So we'll be having to discuss that in the near future.
Did the county approve that?
They approved them to move forward with it, yes. And their council president did say that, you know, if it's an issue for us, they'd work with us on our share of the funding with maybe some type of arrangement where we pay it in, you know, in sections or something. But I don't think they're anticipating it coming on board until it'd be late in next year, probably. Because with this going obsolete, you're like on a waiting list to get it done. But the problem was they waited a year and the price went up $100,000. So there's concerns there.
They're going to ask us for $400,000 above and beyond the $250,000 that was.
That's just, those are operational needs, because the issue that you have with 911, 3 or 4 years ago, the number was only about 60,000 is what we used to budget, I think, and it usually covered our half. They couldn't keep people there because they weren't paying enough, so they increased their wages. But the problem is that the 911 fees that we get from phones and stuff has not gone up. It's actually gone down, the revenue. So it leaves a bigger gap all the time. Last year we paid, at the end of the year, $230-some thousand for the difference, for our half of the difference between the 911 fees and the cost of the actual service. So it's an expensive thing, but it's a necessary thing. You know, the last thing we want to do is let our 911 service be lacking. So yeah, it's, as far as I know, Susie, you know, I know we've made 2 payments in total. They're over $130,000 at the halfway point this year. Or I mean, they're over $100,000 at the halfway point. So.
And the other number that I had on my mind was we have the playground equipment for Riverside Park, but you said that we would discuss maybe doing some projects out of the
Geo bond.
GEO bond.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be moved to the GEO bond?
Yeah. Or probably, I mean, honestly, quite a bit of the Parks Department capital improvement might move that direction.
Okay, thank you. Those were my two main questions.
Anything else?
What's the Spencer Park crosswalk at $50,000?
Well, that's one, and I was going to ask Jan, or one of the things I was going to put out was for all these CIP projects that we get some estimates to make sure the numbers we have are accurate. But what, and Jan, if I'm wrong here, help me out, but a lot of people park on the south side of the park and then walk down to the big pavilion, and she wants to have a designated crosswalk there for the safety of people going back and forth. Now, I don't know have you looked into that at all,
I've been
Jan?
working with HWC to get some numbers and I haven't got those from them.
Yeah.
So might have to try somebody else to help me with
Okay.
it.
Now, do we have to, I mean, are there specific guidelines? I mean, it's not a highway we're doing.
Right, and that's one of the things, Ed and Despnet said, that since it's not a highway, that it's a little less stringent, I guess, but, so, I don't know, I was after a hawk light, but if we can't even do that, we can just at least get something on the roadway and some signage, with some flashing lights or, flashing something, like stop signs or something, I don't know. Do something there.
Yeah. Very good. But yeah, if we can get some kind of a number on that, because
Yeah.
that's one that I was looking at too. Anything else?
I also saw, you got 90,000 for a large mower. Is that for the parks or for the golf course?
And I just sent you an estimate that it was more like 68,000, 70,000, 68 to 70,000, so,
Is that for the Ventrac system?
no, that's
For the, like,
what they call the batwing mower, where it's like a 16-foot, 12-foot, I'm not sure which one it is, but.
use it up at Houston Park, and do you use it up at Houston Park?
Yeah, Houston and at Fairview, and we could use it at Riverside sometimes too, so. Yeah, it's a lot of mowing.
So you got an estimate on that for us?
Yeah, and I sent that to you guys this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Just getting some of these estimates in, so.
What time this afternoon did you send it? I checked mine at
Might have
3:30.
been like 3:30 or so.
Okay.
I didn't get it. Okay, thank you.
And why do we want to go with the Ventrac system?
Because it doesn't do that wide of a mowing job.
Well, I know that, but we can get other mowers in town. I mean, you got John Deere, Kubota, and New Holland. Why you want to go to, or down by Indianapolis and get a mower? I would love to have a Ventrac. I know what they can do, but
Well, the one thing about the Ventrac is that it's easily interchangeable with other pieces of attachments and equipment that we can use for snow blowing, for ditch digging, for trenching, for stump grinding, lots of attachments attached to these Ventracs. And they're also really good for mowing hills, and so, I realize they're more expensive, but they do a better job, they're a workhorse. So, we got one a couple of years ago, and we'd like to add to that fleet, so, or make it a fleet, I guess. One is not a fleet. We're getting there, yeah. We got a trencher, and I think we've got a stump grinder already on it, or maybe that's what we're getting yet, maybe the stump grinder is the one that they
Does
want
the
to
snow
get.
blower go on that?
Pardon me?
Is it the snow blower or?
Yeah, snow blowers go on that,
And a
yeah.
ca- like
And
a-
the cab,
There's
yeah,
like a cab
Cab
thing
thing.
for it, yeah.
So
yeah.
they already have one, BJ, so they're just getting another one so that we've already spent all this money on the attachments and the equipment.
that's what I'm asking if we had the attachments already. But, just asking.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jan.
All right.
part-time secretary for the fire department. She's been there 5 years and has never got a raise.
There's a raise in the budget this year.
Well, she said she didn't get, wasn't getting one, so I was just asking.
Oh, she didn't get a raise, I don't know that there was a raise for her this year, but there's a raise in the 26 budget,
Okay.
so. All right, okay. Well, we'll move on. Aaron and Tim, you want to come up and talk about the urban green infrastructure resilience cohort?
Tim's my go-to person because he's really researched into this more than I have. But I went to a conference last year where I met a few people from IU about resilient and climate and different things like that. And the reasons why we have tree canopies and those type of things. Well, one of the things that I do with my contractual services is look at the trees, help make sure they're trimmed and have contracts for that. But we only do it specifically for downtown right now. But we have a lot of trees that I don't look at, maintain, or anything that's on the city property. Even in downtown, it's kind of like someone calls me, and then I go look at it, and I go look with Craig Renneman, and he's the one that trims the trees downtown. And so we look at it as on-call basis, basically. So we don't really know, and there's a lot of trees out there currently that are actually now not native, but they're invasive species now, like the pear trees we used to put downtown. So, and we don't really have a program to switch those out or anything like that, but I don't even know where they are. So this would really help me in helping maintain and control and trim and know what trees are dying or what areas are having problems or what trees are in places that they are invasive that need to be replaced and those things for my end. Tim knows more about the actual grant part of it, but I just want to let you guys know on that end why we were even looking into this stuff.
So Aaron forwarded it to me, and I looked into it. It's a grant, but it's not a typical kind of grant. They're not reimbursing us for work being done. They're not providing us with funding. What they're providing us with is, in essence, an Arbory graduate student who has a internship. So they'll be assigned to Logansport. They'll come in, they'll do an inventory of the trees and the canopy coverage. They're going to generate a report that shows where we are lacking essentially green infrastructure and where we could make better use of it. If you skip to the last page, there is a map back there that shows where the eligible areas are for planting. So they cannot plant them necessarily any place in town. They would have to be planted only where there are blue areas. But as you can see from the map, virtually all of Logansport is going to be eligible for getting tree planting. Their inventory and canopy coverage assessment, though, will cover the entire city. So it is not specific to just the areas that are eligible. Those are just the areas that they'll be able to plant trees in. So basically what this program is we're basically signing up for it. It's not a competitive program. They haven't necessarily said all you do is fill out the paperwork and we assign an intern to you. But reading between the lines, essentially, they're going to assign an intern to us if we decide to proceed. So the timeline is on the page right before that. We apply on by October 1st. They'll get someone assigned and come in and do basically an orientation and start collecting data. They'll generate all of that information they need for the town. Then the good part is what they'll do is they'll come in, they'll make recommendations for tree planting, and we will get 100 trees approximately, ballpark. They'll plant 25 of those in a, basically like a public event, try and drum up some good publicity for them, for the city, showing how we're adding new trees to the city's property. We will not have to care for those trees for the next 2 years. That's also part of their internship and ongoing classwork, is they're going to come in and actually use those trees to learn how to properly establish the trees in the community so that they're going to live a lot longer. That's a 2-year program. This one goes through just the tree planting event. After the first 25 trees, they're going to have a contractor come in at their cost and plant the remaining 75 trees in the locations that we've chosen based on the eligibility and the canopy cover assessment. So what we have to do, if you want to skip to page 2, essentially, after the application, we have a host fee, which is $3,700. That is your all-in financial cost. So there is no additional cost beyond that for this intern to be assigned and for those 100 trees that are going to be added to the community. That's it. We did double check that with them, said there's not going to be any expectations for local funds going to the contractor or any of that. She said, no, they take care of everything. We literally just pay them that cost. They come in, they take care of everything. Then they follow up for the next 2 years to make sure that those trees are in good shape. Erin gets her data, Logansport gets trees. The other requirement that we have, sorry.
Just curious,
Yes.
just so I don't forget. So if we were to move forward with this, we need this funding this year.
Yes.
We would need to,
They have not confirmed for sure when we'll get the invoice, but I would say to err on the side of caution, it will be before the end of 2025. Correct.
so we need to get this on the agenda unless we've got, do you have contractual services for this, Aaron, or
I'm
not?
looking at some of the projects we had and some funding we may need for those, that we have invoices for, so I don't really have a lot in my.
Okay,
budget right now.
okay.
The only other requirement on us is that they will need a supervisor, someone from the city. I'm not sure if Erin's taking care of that entirely. She implied that she would certainly be the supervisor of whoever was supervising this person. Estimated assessment is approximately 5 to 7 hours per week of time that they would have to spend essentially working with this intern, helping them get the lay of the land. They asked that we could do things like looking into local housing availability to try and give them a list of, rentals that are available. We are not, again, expending any additional cost beyond that $3,700. That's going to be part of their internship, and the stipend that they get is paying the rent on that. They just wanted us to help with finding potential housing for them. Yes.
So who gets to decide where you plant the 100 trees?
I would definitely ask, at least priorities, take it there, and then if you guys want, because you're putting the money towards it, to review them, that's fine.
Could ask who?
The group that kind of gets together, council and everybody that
Oh, the
gets together,
priorities
the priorities group, is usually where I take things, but if you guys want to put a stipulation that you review before, that's fine with me. I don't want it on me and me put it in a wrong location, so.
I would also say it's kind of probably going to be dependent upon their
They do
canopy
have, yeah.
assessment.
They do
Because
have
they're going to
assessment.
narrow down the potentially eligible areas. These are just the areas in which they can plant, not the areas that they'll identify as being appropriate for planting. So it's going to be further narrowed down from this map based on what their assessment is, which they can't do until they finish the inventory.
So they'll basically look at all our public spaces that, any city property that we have
Yes.
and evaluate those and
Right.
determine. So all of our parks would be looked at.
Yeah, so I think it's any public
Yes.
location, so like when we talked about the boulevard and we had someone go check those out and different things like that. I kind of do it for downtown, but we really don't have anybody that looks, and the parks does it for the parks in areas that they see, but we don't really have an inventory of, yeah, that one's dying or will be dying in the next, few years or whatever.
Sure.
So I think this, for me, I know that we could get 100 trees probably cheaper, but for me, it's really the inventory that's, I think, is important for us.
What are the size of the trees? Any idea?
Don't know.
Are these like the Arbor Day ones they give our kids?
Hoping not. I mean, our typicals when we plant is an inch diameter, so I'm hoping that it's around there. Not one that you get from the, DNR where it's a twig. So,
Well, and for them to have someone maintain these trees for 2 years, that's worth a lot of money. So.
Sure.
I think their estimated cost of all of the work and time being spent on this is roughly $15,000 between the trees and the man hours and the analysis. And I've asked her about as many ways as I can think of to make sure there aren't any hidden costs. At one point, I basically said, so just so we're clear, $3,700 all in, no additional expectations beyond that. She said, no, that's it.
They bring a truck in and water them?
They'll provide all maintenance for 2 years, including watering.
Which is
Watering,
usually-
mulching, there was a list of things that they would basically do.
which is usually the hard part is to actually get them established, so that's,
Weekly water.
Yeah, water's a big thing.
Yeah, they don't have the details in the parts that I printed out. That must have been in the rest. This was boiled down from a much longer presentation that Dave and Aaron and Chad and I sat in on, so.
Think about a program like this.
Say yes.
As long as we can find the supervisor.
I mean, I think we'll know more when we get into it. I mean, it might be something that I can handle. I just don't know until I get into it what
So they,
that all entails.
you say they'd be assigned in October if we,
Yeah, because it's a fall, they actually
I
pick.
don't know how long it's gonna take them to review the paperwork, but they will be assigned to this year.
okay,
And that's why my assumption is that we'll have to pay this year.
okay.
Because I believe they basically process the paperwork, send us an invoice, we pay that invoice. Then we have basically a kickoff meeting with one of the representatives and/or whatever intern they're gonna assign.
Okay.
At that point, they'll get it more into the details.
You say the supervisor needs to spend 5 to 7 hours a week
Yes.
doing this?
Yes.
What I can do is I'll check our, if you like to move forward with this, I can check and see how much, what our miscellaneous funds look like in the council's budget. I think we should probably have enough funds to cover that 3,700.
To clarify also, they did say that at least some of that time is gonna be working on things like drumming up volunteers to help with the tree planting event that they wanna host in the spring, summer.
Do they tie that in with like our local schools or anything, or do you know?
As far as I know, they're fairly flexible. I think if you wanted to promote it in the schools and/or have student volunteers, I would think the only exception they might have to that is if they want adults that are out planting them, but I wouldn't foresee that. I can certainly find out. This doesn't have a traditional NOFO, 100-page, document of the rules and regs. It's very, very much
Flexible.
just that presentation that we sat through
Yeah.
and any follow-up questions that I can think to ask myself, so.
Everybody all right with moving this forward? Okay.
And I'm willing to do all the, like, it just might be someone from the school that's helping with, or the soil water district helping with certain things. But I'm willing to, like, oversee the project in itself.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a requirement that it be one specific person supervising them, so you might be able to split up that workload amongst numerous people.
Soil and conservation
That-
employees
yeah, that's
be
what I was
helpful in
thinking.
that?
Leah would
Yeah, Leah.
probably like to be part of it, and so I have those contacts with those different people to be part of it.
All right, if there's no other questions, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Tyler, you're up.
All right. So I think we just fixed one portion of this not too long ago where we added a second fund for the GO bond. We should have had two set up last year and we didn't have two set up for this year's budget. So the issue is everything that we spent out of that becomes an additional appropriation, which we just found out from Judy Robertson. So we have to write an ordinance to go through the right steps now for all the stuff that we've done off of the GO bond this year to make an additional appropriation. That way we can advertise it in the paper and all that stuff.
You have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, public hearing before the next meeting and that kind of stuff, so.
Are you going to put that ordinance together for us?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have to have one for the appropriation, and then do we have to write another one to include all the things that have been spent during the year?
I'm gonna have to look more into that part. I don't know if it can all be in one or split it up.
I bet you'll need two, one for the
Probably.
money, one for the money we've already spent and what we spend it on, and the other one will be to say how we're gonna move forward with, spending money out of the GO bond.
Not knowing, we just wrote resolutions saying we're spending the funds on these projects, and
I would
Because we
do
didn't
two,
have it.
just to be clear.
budget, technically, like this year, if you look at the budget now, we've got a number in there that's, I think it's like 800,000, but, and what that basically is what we think we haven't spent.
I would do two, Dave, just to be sure what we've spent and how we're gonna move forward to show that that's a good paper trail.
Everybody all right with Tyler getting that cleaned up for us? All right, Jan? Yep.
This is kind of an annual thing. We get finished with the pool so I guess the first thing with this, I didn't make copies of this, oh, good.
Yeah, but-
Is the wages. We were only about, which I'm really pleased with, $75 over this year, which is pretty darn good for us. Then the other thing that we are in need of is to replace the stairs for the pool entry. We have $6,000 in our budget currently, and these transfers here will bring us up to approximately 11,000, which I'm thinking it's going to be that much. We're trying to get, if you've ever been to the Y pool, it's a fiberglass set of stairs, and they fit right over the gutters, and it lasts. I mean, I think they're using the same one they bought 10 or 15 years ago. So that's what we're trying to get, is something that's a little more substantial. And then, of course, anytime we have money left, we try to buy more chemicals at current year's prices. So that's what anything left over is going to do, so.
So you're kind of buying ahead on your chemicals for next year?
Yep. Mhm. It doesn't give us a lot of money for chemicals, but that's one of the things we really need. We'd like to do that, because we can also get no shipping on that stuff, so that makes a difference too.
This looks like you're asking for 15 to over $2,500. You're moving money around to have $2,500 to buy additional chemicals, is that correct?
Yeah.
So when I read this transfer appropriations for you for the pool, it just made me think that, I don't know, I just think that we should just improve our budget for the pool. And we've already got the 2026 budget. And I just wanted to ask you, so with our 2026 budget, like for sure you have your wages covered?
I think we asked for an additional $1,000 for next year.
Okay, and I know that you didn't have.
It was in the cashiers, and so I guess I'm hoping for the FICA and everything to go along with that, so, yeah.
And then I know that you didn't have a game plan for the stairs, for that money, and I understand, so you're just taking money that you haven't spent this year out of these other
Yes.
accounts and coming up with the amount of money it's going to take, and is this the total amount of money, or did you have some money set aside for the stairs, for the?
That's what I said, we have 6,000 that we had bought, we did get into the budget, into machinery and equipment, but.
And so you're just digging around, finding another $5,000 to make that work? And then, of course, the chemicals, you're just trying to find money you know you're not going to use. And so my question would be, so in your budget for 2026, did you reduce your utilities by at least $500? And then you could, because it looks to me like you have $1,000 left over? You're taking $1,000 out of utilities?
We just got, the last of the water bill today, came in today, and it was actually, it did leave us a couple $1,000s left over in utilities this year, so.
Well, I'm just recommending that you take a good look at this 2026 budget
More closely in.
more closely before we pass it, so that, we can just be more set up to have the pool budget, because this comes up every year. And, it's not a moneymaker, it's just a service that we give to our community, and it just looks better if we're giving away a service that we're not digging around at the end of the year trying to find money to keep covering it. So I just would appreciate it if you take a good look at the 2026 budget. Thank you.
Jan, I just wanted to take, as Robin talked to me today, about your invoice for the playground when you turned in.
Oh, yeah, I
It
heard.
it falls under this situation with the appropriation,
Yes,
so
yeah.
we can't pay it right away. It'll be part of that process. I just want,
We're actually meeting with that sales rep tomorrow morning, so
Okay, can you,
We'll tell her.
all right.
We'll cover the news.
Yep.
But they're pretty good. You know, I think, I don't know what the thing, it probably says 30 days on it, so I don't, are you talking about having this done on the 6th?
Well,
This ordinance?
we'll have to do 2 readings on it, so it'd be the 20th.
Okay.
Probably we could slip it in with the budget.
So by the end of
adoption on
October,
the
do you think you
20th.
can have it paid?
I think so.
Okay.
If we get the advertising done and everything, so.
Okay.
Yep,
All right, I think I'll let her know that.
okay. Apologize for that.
That's, okay.
Dave, what's the 20th date that you keep referring to?
That's the second reading of the budget. We have to pass the budget before November 1st, so we have a special council meeting on the 20th.
So we're going to have a special council meeting on the 20th of October to pass the budget? Okay.
Jan?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jan.
Red Ribbon, that was Nikki Malott. They were going, she met with me a while back about some funding assistance for another one of their events they were going to have, and they've gotten enough sponsors that they don't need any assistance on that. So the Red Ribbon SA thing they do every year, they have a breakfast with it and some other stuff, and they were able to come up with enough sponsors. Okay, we're to the CEDAT funding request for this next year. Tyler, can you put the CEDAT back up there for everyone to kind of look at? Let me get my, all right. We have first up, Yoslin, you want to come on up? Yoslin, and I can't recall what her name is that you brought with you today, Yoslin, if you want to introduce her. He's here to make a request for the high school multicultural festival.
I guess I should stand.
Yeah. Kind of introduce yourself to everybody, though. I told them their name, but you a senior this year? Junior this year. Yoslin's a junior, and she's a teacher for?
She's our Chinese teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Mrs. Guan has kind of taken headstrong the multicultural festival for the last 4 years. She's a one-woman show, so she's really kind of pioneered the festival to what it is today. We have over hundreds of students who attend, who sell food, thousands who actually go and partake. And my name is Yasa, I'm one of the student vendors. I help out with marketing stuff. So, multicultural festival. Obviously,
I warn you, don't touch it or it'll just do crazy things.
We know that Logansport is one of probably the most diverse towns in Indiana. And I did the math. Our school at LHS is probably the most diverse school in the entire state. And it's a really cool thing to be able to show that off at an event where we're able to have, people from all over the state come. This last year we had Secretary of State Diego Morales. We had Representative Ethan Manning, and a couple other, yourself.
The mayor.
The mayor and, a couple members of the community come and speak. But like I said, we have over 28 countries represented at our school with over 20 languages spoken. So with such a diverse body, I think it's important to celebrate that and give them recognition.
Okay.
So this is what we're asking, $5,000. The money would be used for performances. I know Mrs. Guan has been looking to get some people from Taiwan or China and
Philippines, Romania, and India.
Laos.
Yeah, Laos.
We went to the Laos New Year. The dancing was it was spectacular. So we want to have more, authentic performances from our students. And, from around the world, we want to have more food, decor, obviously, band. the school performances. We had the Barry Bonda, we had, the LHS band come. And then, we support the schools and the clubs of culture at the schools, like French club, Spanish club, Chinese club. So that's what the money would be used for. A small glimpse of what we spent last year. This was all thanks to the Community Foundation, as they gave us a $2,000 small grant. But to us, it was not small. So we were able to use that money in a lot of different ways. We had a dance team from Purdue, Amazon expenses. We got certificates for all our speakers, T-shirts, decor stuff. We gave a lot of money to our clubs and dance team, local performances and stuff like that. And these are just a couple pictures. Ethan May, the secretary, came a little bit later, so we weren't able to get that one. Oh, never mind, he's right there. And then he's a bit short. That's almost like that.
We'll do the famous, that's off the record.
This is our lunar, I'll let her.
So we invite the coordinator from Indiana, and he is the former president of Indiana American Associations organization. They have the line dance team. We invite him come here to train our junior high school students for about 1 hour, 2 hours, and they have the parade.
Dragon and, yeah, that was pretty cool.
And this is the parade for represent different community. For each vendor, I ask them to choose an ambassador to represent that culture. You can see Laos, Haitian, Haiti, and Hispanic community and Asian community. You can see the different flags to represent different culture. It's like a routine. We sing the national song and then start the parade to represent each community. We could fund them and reach out. Also, we have the induction for the National Training Honor Society.
Questions for these guys? Hey, I know Haley attended it last year. I was very impressed with it. It goes on for, what time did it start? Around 9?
From 10 to 2.
10 to 2. But it was very neat. There was any type of food you could probably imagine there. Each of the different countries had food from their countries that they prepared and had samples you could buy from them for their clubs, whatnot.
Do you know when this is going to happen? Do you have a date?
Yeah. This year will be on May the 9th, the one day before the Mother's Day. May 9th, from 10 to 2.
Oh, it's at the Berry Bowl?
In Barryville.
Say something, Mercedes?
Yeah, I'm here tonight in support of this program.
Thank you so much.
Mercedes?
I just feel like this is a way for the council. We don't normally, the RDC does a great job of supporting the schools for the city, but I just thought it was a great way for us to have a little input into one of their activities for the year. I thought it was fairly well attended, quite honestly, last year.
Where the $5,000 would come from?
I've got it, it's one of the seats requests for next year, so it will
For
come out of seated.
2026? For 2026?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
Anybody, are we okay with going ahead and moving this forward in the budget?
Absolutely. I am.
Okay. Thank you guys very much for coming. Yasin, thank you for doing the presentation.
Thank you.
You're all invited.
Got ourselves in it.
Right, we got, Barry, you want to come up? got Barry Taylor, he's here for the State Theater.
Have some handouts. It's a meeting without handouts.
Thank you.
One color. Color it myself.
Lies.
Lies, all lies. People aren't looking at you, waiting for their copy.
It's all right, thank you.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Barry Taylor, and I'm the president of the State Theater Preservation Society Board. And want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak with you today. Now, when the State Theater first began operations as a nonprofit in 2016, we chose that route simply because as a nonprofit, there are definitely tax advantages and grant opportunities that we could go after. But one of the things that we discovered right away is that it's almost impossible to find grants that cover probably the most critical expenses that we have, which is operational costs. Our monthly fixed costs are around $3,000 to run the theater. And that's before we sell the first ticket, tub of popcorn, a drink at the bar. These costs do fluctuate, especially utilities, depending on what the weather's like. But it remains fairly consistent. When we set out to make the State Theater the nonprofit, we wanted to try to keep a piece of the city's history alive. We've lost a lot in downtown Logansport over the years. According to the book Not Forgotten, which was written about Logansport, since 1911, downtown has lost 75% of its infrastructure. And that's a staggering amount. Now, we know that there are various reasons, fire, poor upkeep, and in some cases, buildings being raised and nothing to replace them. Now, we believe it's fair to say that the State Theater has a positive impact on downtown Logansport. Several businesses have opened who have benefit on nights that we have events. We also believe that the State Theater, as we grow, will continue to attract further economic development downtown. However, there's always an elephant in the room. In order to do this, we need financial support from the city. Support that we see as an investment in downtown Logansport, which we believe will spur additional economic growth. To put our financial needs into context, during the COVID pandemic, the State Theater shut down for pretty much an entire season. Now, once the pandemic was over, theaters, and this is in general, once they began operations again, there was a hesitation from the general public who had grown accustomed to staying at home, were not going out for entertainment. Now, many theaters started to get up and running again. However, the key component in the return was having enough financial backing to do the necessary marketing to get people interested and excited, something that we didn't have at the time. Essentially, the momentum, or at least what we experienced, all the momentum that we had built up to that point, once we were shut down from the pandemic, basically reset us back to zero. The regular crowds who were coming to shows were not coming back as often or as quickly as they had before. Any revenue generated went straight to covering operations during times when we did not have enough to cover those expenses, which we have occurred this year. I have been personally covering those expenses. But unfortunately, I can't do that any longer. Beyond the usual operating expenses, inflation has also taken a major toll. We've seen about a 40% increase in what our operating expenses are, mainly impacted by utilities, but there were a lot of other things that have increased in cost over time. Now, we've seen in the past, the city being willing to fund certain projects, like the commitment that was put forth to the farmer's market, I think was 500,000, I think is what I saw. And also money being put towards a memorial home. Now, we're not asking for any of that type of commitment, although we wouldn't turn it down if it was offered. But what we are asking is for a 12-month period of $30,000 in support, which, as you can see from the information that I provide you, pretty much coincides with what our expenses are. And that's assuming, of course, that those expenses maintain the way they are now. And after that time, after the end of the 1 year, we would take a look at it and determine whether, we would need to look at anything in the future. We're going to continue to seek grants and donations for the theater because we know that as we continue to make these improvements, we know that that's also going to allow us to develop other programs and other things that we can do to benefit the community. Just kind of as an example, one of the programs that we're working on is what we call the Junior Tech Program. It's something that Dave, our sound engineer, has been talking about for probably 2 years. And essentially what it's aimed at is it would be open to all students, but it would mainly be geared towards students that maybe live in areas or go to schools that do not offer any type of theater programs. And through this program, the students would learn things such as theater tech, lighting, sound, set construction. We would even offer acting clinics, and during the time of the program, they are producing a play that will ultimately be hosted at the theater, where the students are running all the tech and student actors, where they are basically taking it from start to finish. And it's in, we feel it would greatly benefit a lot of the students that simply don't, McHale Auditorium, a lot of the students in Logansport are pretty spoiled with how nice our auditorium is, but a lot of other areas do not have those sorts of resources. Now that's just one of the different ideas that we've had as far as what we plan to do. And, kind of finally to, since we look at what we do as benefiting, downtown Logansport, we really want to try to transform the State Theater into, sort of one of the crown jewels as far as one of the main destination places for downtown Logansport. And we know that as more people come in from out of the community to attend events or to attend programs that we have, that is going to spread out to other businesses as well within that area, or attract other businesses to come in because there are crowds there in order for them to take advantage of. And I thank you for your consideration. I'm ready. Hit me with the questions.
How many shows do you put there year-round, approximately?
About 30.
30?
Is fairly consistent from larger shows, and then we have, smaller shows. I consider a lot of the comedy shows to be smaller shows. But then, we do a lot of work. And to point out something as well, everyone that works up at the theater, with the exception of one person, that's the person that does the cleaning, we're all volunteers. We do this. None of us are getting paid to do what we do. I've been doing this for about 10 years. So we have been dedicated to what we're doing up there. It's just, sometimes it's kind of a challenge that people sometimes don't realize what they have until it's gone. And that's one thing that we don't want to see happen to the State Theater, is that, everybody suddenly becomes interested in it when it's not there anymore. And so I guess that's my soapbox speech.
Where does your income come from now? Do you have people who regularly give you donations, or businesses that regularly give you donations?
We do have a few regular donations. We do have some businesses that sponsor events. One of the problems that we run into, and this is kind of universal with a lot of nonprofits, is that they all tend to go to the same well, looking for sponsorship and support. And the problem is for a lot of these businesses, you can only cut a piece of pie in so many pieces as far as what they have available to be able to give to all these different organizations that are seeking support. The main source of our, as far as where we get our revenue from, are the ticket sales from events, concession sales, and bar sales, all come together. I think that there's a misconception from a lot of people out there that most bands it's just a cut of the door, so to speak. But, we can have bands in there that are the $5,000 or $6,000 range, which means that we have to sell that amount in tickets just to break even. And there's been cases where, that's kind of happened, where we covered it, but there wasn't any left over afterwards. And it's not to say that the entertainment that we're providing isn't quality. We've had some absolutely incredible shows up there that people missed, that had no idea what they missed as a result. And I don't know whether it's just the perception that, a show put on locally wouldn't be as good as what you could get going out of town, but that's just not true. And we know too, as we increase and enhance our technology, then we're going to be able to expand and be able to bring in larger things. That's been mainly the restriction that we have, is that there are some bands that we can't support them tech-wise. That maybe because of the way our facility is set up, we can't meet certain riders that certain bands would have. Like, for example, having dressing rooms with stage access. That would basically be the alley out in the back of the theater. Or if they wanted to hide behind the dumpster, which they could do. So those sorts of things that as time goes on and we make those improvements, we'll be able to meet those requirements that they have. But it's like everything else, nothing is cheap. And when you're in an old building, it's definitely not cheap when you're in an old building. Especially when you're in a building that has what I refer to as a lot of Franken wiring. In the building that's been done over the years that we scratch our heads going, why did they do it this way? Type of a thing. So, but we're getting there. Like I said, we're not giving up, but, basically we're just in a position where we've never really asked for help in this capacity before. And, we're just looking at it as an investment to help us get to a certain point, because ultimately we want to be self-sufficient. We don't want to have to depend on anyone to be able to, other than, donations and things like that to help with different things that we're doing. But ultimately, being able to have enough to be able to cover those expenses, just with normal operations, we should be able to do. But hopefully if the costs quit rising, that'll help. But, or if they come down, that would be even better. But I don't see that happening, so.
So if you get $30,000, which is what you're asking for a year, you think that asking for $30,000 is enough to be able to get your feet on the ground and like?
Well, a lot of that really depends on what good example is, how cold is the winter? How hot is the summer? That has a huge impact on what our, our utilities are, because that's a big building. In fact, one of the things that we experienced that we'll have to deal with next year is that we had one of our brand-new units on top of the building that is 4 years old got fried. So we have to have that repaired. We only have one unit. So, just all these different things that, and we've got equipment in the building that's over 10 years old, that at some point we're going to have to replace those things. And, but, the biggest thing is, being able to cover those expenses. We can find other funding to help with, for example, the Visitors Bureau just recently helped us out with some marketing, which is good, which will be huge for us. And, that's probably the one thing that's the hardest thing to do. Is we haven't been able to figure out what the secret sauce is on that yet. And I talked to a lot of other places that say we haven't either. So, but that's, that we kind of felt that amount would definitely ease a lot of pressure, of what we're doing.
Are you going to ask the county, you're going to ask the county commission?
We had considered that, and because I think that, you know, there again too, I think that it's a boost for Cass County as well. So that's something that we've definitely looked at doing as far as that's concerned. We didn't know really how they would receive it as far as, you're in Logansport. You're like, yeah, but we're in Cass County, and Logansport is in Cass County. You know, so, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Utilities up quite a bit this year compared to your 24 number you have on here.
We've been fortunate that, well, they've been fairly consistent. We were very fortunate that last year it was a pretty mild winter. So that didn't really result in a lot of high gas bills. But you know, we had a pretty hot summer as far as that's concerned. And yeah, the LMU bill, you know, was staying fairly consistent. Well, it helped us too to not have one of the rooftop units working too, because we were only using one. So that brought down what we would normally have. We've had electric bills during the summer get as high as almost $1,900. We were hovering around the $800 to $900 with using one rooftop unit, that it continued to work. But yeah, we discovered that did make a difference, utility bill. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Questions for Barry?
See Haywood Banks there sometime back. It was almost a sellout. It's kind of nice to go see a nice show with a you know, star, and not have to drive 2.5 hours home.
We just had Emo Phillips on Friday.
Okay.
And that was a great show. Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. And, you know, like I said, we've had a lot of great performers, and I think that sometimes if someone hasn't heard of them, you know, that, well, I have never heard of them. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not a great show, you know, that, you know, it's worth going to. And we try to keep ticket prices reasonable. I think we're comparable to a lot of other theaters around us, because I've been looking at how they're pricing tickets. Because I don't want to make them too high, because then that creates another barrier for getting people to come to a show. But I think sometimes too, if you make them too low, then it sets well, this must be a crummy show because they're only charging $15 a ticket. So it's like, you can't win.
What is the total capacity of the
We can do about 550, and that includes the tables, and, well, I take that back. About 550 with general admission, and then 72 with the cabaret tables. So a little over 600. Originally, when it was a theater, the state had a seating capacity of 1,024, believe it or not. So they removed a lot of seats out of there, but it was, you know, it's a pretty good sized venue.
I'll just say for myself, I think it's a good investment to help these guys out. Like he said, they haven't really ever come to us, and I can attest to the fact over the years that they've invested a lot of money in this, and I would hate to think that we couldn't support them for a year to see if that'll help get them back on their feet.
Especially knowing that everybody that works there is a volunteer, except the lady who cleans. I mean, that speaks for itself, that you do such a fine job, and you're doing it with volunteers, so kudos to you.
Chris, you guys okay with this?
Yep, I'm good.
Down. PJ?
Yeah, why not?
Haley? All right. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, do you guys need a copy of one of these for the record? Okay, good enough. All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, who we got? Bill, come on up.
Did you skip this one?
Huh? Oh, she's back here too. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't bring my list. That's why I didn't have I just figured that would be out here.
Is this yours?
Yes.
You want this? I'll let you control it.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Guess I'm not going anywhere. Well, they didn't see this.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't matter.
They don't know.
Which one we skip?
Don't be telling.
No one.
that.
The only ones that can't see this two streams are the ones that sit up here. Okay. There we go. I won't go through slide by slide. You've had this for a couple days. Just hit on a couple of non-measurable things and then hit on the measurable things. For one, ordinance was passed through 2028, so thank you for that. That does help an organization knowing through 2028 that we're good. This is more of just to kind of define what we do, just to reassure you your investment's a good one. CLETO exists. Most municipalities, most cities don't have a department within the city that does economic development. The positive with that is you would not have PERF contributions, health insurance contributions, utilities, staffing, all that stuff, and it does get expensive, especially PERF. The benefit that businesses like for an independent organization is they like, I'm not saying your terms are not stable, but a lot of times political terms are not stable. And organizations that have an independent person that's not politically directly tied to a department, sometimes there's more stability that we're here for 10, 20, 30 years. Businesses like having an individual or a company they can go to that is there longer than maybe 4 years. They also like that they can talk in confidentiality at times until it gets to a certain point where things don't have to go public. They like having that person to bounce off things, to look at incentives and to make business decisions. So that's why an organization like a CLETO exists, not compared to a department arm that the city would have. Some measurable things. Oh, and the other thing is, between that and the chamber, we have 24 board members that if I were to read the names, you would know them, you respect them. They run companies in town. They all have circles also that are a good marketing piece for the city of Logansport. So it's not just me running around trying to market the city. Your representative, of course, is Dave Morris. So we have board meetings, but we have manufacturers on our boards. We have the healthcare, we have the schools, we have the utilities, we have mom and pops. We have a lot of companies that we can lean on. In fact, there's 24 of them that are a great asset to what we do. Some measurable, there's some numbers. When you look at how a city is funded, net assessed value is kind of the core of your formula, but you guys all know this information. If that stays stagnant, you're in trouble. You know, inflation hits, as a couple others mentioned. You've got to have properties going up in value, businesses expanding, things happen in your community. So if you drive up and down Market Street and you see hotels and malls and things, it's not that we're just trying to bring some retail to Logansport. There's some analytical reasons to bring the dollar value to Logansport. So I look at net assessed value, taxes paid in Logansport, payroll, and seated are the big financial metrics. And not to get into the granular of this, but obviously when the bar goes up to the right, that's a good thing. Net assessed value, Dave probably went over this with you. You guys are going from 517 million to 575 million, which is an increase of 11.3%. So a lot of decisions you make are predicated off the net assessed value going up. Taxes, don't like to talk too much about this because that's people pay taxes and it's a benefit to the city nevertheless. Payrolls of our top companies are going up. I won't go into all the numbers. This is what I wanted to hit on real quickly of why what we do in our organizations benefit to Logansport. As you know, CEDAT comes in the form of running people off already. Talk numbers and boom. Your calculation is 0.25% of all payrolls in the city limits goes to CEDAT. That's how it's figured. So as the bar goes up, that means people are making more money, therefore they pay more than their 0.25%. As you know, the acronym is Economic Development Income Tax. I've heard Mr. Petey on several times say that particular project may not be CEDAT worthy. And I like the programs you're funding under CEDAT. I support a lot of them. But I've got to admittedly say it, the core of your economic development income tax dollars should go to an organization that's the primary reason we're here, is to try to drive economic development. But with that, in 2019, the contribution to us, so that's, we made up 19.6% of your total CEDAT receipts. Again, these are payroll tax, 0.25%. In 2025, that number has, I want to say, ballooned up to $1,031,344 is what you receive on an annual basis. Our funding, the $150,000, represents now 14.5%. I've seen the estimate already for 2026. It looks like it's going to go up another approximate $70,000. So if you approve us, our stagnant number of 150, we would now go to about 13.4% of the total. So I don't feel like we're being a hog on trying to take all of the CEDAT dollars. But yet we're appreciative of the 150. We do not need an increase for 2026. That money, again, is all operating and audits and liability insurance and utilities and our building and salaries. We do on a non-measurable thing. This is more with Dave Morris since he's the finance chair, but we also try to assist with other ancillary things in the city that aren't just primarily economic development. We do assist with the investment guidance on your reserves. I'm part of the committee with Tyler and Dave on that. We do take that very seriously on how you invest your money and trying to, as rates come down, we try to move the money out to lock you in longer to make more money. The geo bonding, that a lot of projects have been funded. That idea was brought forth by our organization to do that. So hopefully you're seeing the benefit of that $1.8 million that you've been able to borrow through the bond. The thing I take serious as a former banker, because I know on the back end it saves you a lot of money. A lot of what we do on growing the local economy through this net assessed values and the projects you see going on does enhance your S&P rating. So when you do go out to borrow money for anything, S&P will audit you, and they just audited us again. They have reflected on their ratings that we do have a growing local economy that is thriving, actually, for a Midwestern manufacturing factory belt city. We still are increasing our assessed value. So with all those things, I hope you see that you commit to your ordinance that's approved and that you continue to fund us for the $150,000.
Questions for Bill? A couple of things he didn't mention in that also is that he handles our CEDAT incentive funding and also the internship program, which is for college students that come back and work in different entities in the city during the summers with the hopes that they're going to find a place when they graduate from college to come back to. So he coordinates all that also.
Quickly on that, we've had a great internship season. You, through me administering it, had 12 interns through various private companies. Today already, we have 3 commitments of them moving back when they graduate to take on full-time positions. So that commitment came from the company and the student to once they graduate, they love what they did. 2 are at Sims Insurance Agency. We did 2 interns. And they have already verbally committed to coming back and working for them. It's been a very valuable. I struggled to maybe ask for more on that, but I didn't, knowing that you guys have budget concerns.
Say it's one that if we found the need,
Yeah, it's been a great program.
spring next year, we could always look at it.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I'm going to beat the drum here a little bit, but Bill's invaluable to our city in so many different ways. A lot of it doesn't show up in dollars and cents all the time, but just in guidance. And like he said, I was in his office today. We were trying to figure out the best way forward on some things that are going to happen in the future. You know, he's a wealth of knowledge, and like he said, I think for the price we pay, he's a bargain.
Thank you.
Is there anybody that wants to say anything or any concerns about the funding on this?
I think you've done a wonderful job over the years I've known you.
Thank you.
150,000, it's a lot, that's not much. And
Thank you.
every time you and I have talked, sent you somewhere, you tried your best to do it, so I think you're doing a good job.
One negative we get, and I'm not ignorant to it, is manufacturing. We want people to bring more manufacturing, and I tell you what, we're hitting the pavement, and it's hard. I love my city, but it's a struggle sometimes to have a brand-new facility relocate. I can say we have 3 of our top manufacturers working with me right now to expand this next year. So the goal is to grow what you have, and if new comes, great. There's a lot of EV concerns in Kokomo with, that's on pause, a lot of it. There's a lot of nervousness with it, but we're still kind of kicking the tires on that. But yeah, I'm not ignorant to the manufacturing thing, but we are growing our existing base, and you'll see that over the next year.
Well, another thing, I go to all these meetings, so I know what goes on, but tell them a little bit about the RDC and how you coordinate with the Century Career Center and all that on the funding that you've helped direct that way for the youth in our community that aren't going on to college.
Workforce development's huge, and it's not just, we brought a business here. It's about workforce development, because you can't bring people here without having a knowledgeable workforce that is ready to hit the pavement. So we work closely with RDC, Redevelopment Commission. There's a state statute that allows 15% of their funding. They receive about $1.9 million a year in funding. So 15% of that, $260,000 can be used for workforce training. So instead of me coming to you, knowing that state statute, I go to them, and they have funded programs through our Career Center that have elevated the knowledge base of our local industries. We have a local advisory boards in the Career Center that tell us what they need. You know, Steinberg, what do you need from people graduating? We then take it to the Career Center. We provide the tools to the Career Center, and we try to match them so they stay here, and we don't want our investments to go elsewhere. So we are allocating a lot of money through our RDC to workforce development.
I think it's great. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll move on. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, very much.
Harry, come on up.
Terry Prazel, Executive Director of Logan's Landing. I've also got a handout for you. You don't have to read it, but you can verify me with this. I can give you the information that's.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll share it.
A lot of you have heard of Logan's Landing. A lot of you, if I ask each one of you, you'd probably give me a different answer of what we do. So that's what I wanted to do here today. I want to thank you for your continued support and let you know where your money's going. So to start off, I do want to read our mission statement. We're proud of it, and we have just reworked that in the last month. So Logan's Landing is a nonprofit, 501c3 nationally accredited Main Street organization established in 1996. It is dedicated to making Cass County's downtown district, where two rivers meet, a viable place to operate a business, a rewarding place to live, and a fun place together. Hence, build pride, boost business. So the way that we do that, and you heard me mention Main Street in here. Main Street is our umbrella. They provide us a lot of structure and educational support, grants, funding, etc. They are a 45-year-old organization, and they have 2,000 different organizations like Logan's Landing. One of the important things that we brag about in our top line is that we are nationally accredited. Main Street has 3 levels of accreditation, and we are on the top level. There's only 19 organizations, Main Street organizations, that have met the stringent standards that we have to become and stay in that arena. So with that said, we are approximately 25 volunteers. Number bounces back and forth, and it changes often. And one of our struggles has been volunteerism. And we have made major strides in bringing in those younger people to help with the volunteerism. And we bring in other organizations. We found that partnering with them also gives us a boost. We have only one paid executive director, that's myself. I'm not going to read you our vision statement. You have that, you can verify that. We do what we do with 4 organizations, and we meet every month. Committee. So each committee meets each month. We have an organization committee, we have a promotions committee, we have a design committee, and economic development committee. So all these committees come back and work together in one shape or another. So I'm going to describe to you, so the first committee that I want to talk about is the organization committee, and that's the nuts and bolts that keeps us organized. So that committee, they do an ask letter once a year, and we just merely send out our letter and get support and funding from that. You probably just heard us on Facebook with our t-shirt challenge. That was twofold. It helped us with our funding, but it was also a community pride initiative. We're having a meet and greet, and then the organization committee also does a website and social media monitoring, and they did a roadblock for fundraising. Okay, so that's your organization. They do the fundraising. Then you get into your promotions committee. They're the ones that provide the foot traffic, that bring more foot traffic down, that make us attractive to other businesses. Celebrate Logansport, Chalk the Block, Security Federal Block Party, Scarecrow Road, which is coming up, Halloween Spectacular. We bring 2,000 children down, really more than 2,000 children downtown in the corridor, plus their parents, family, and friends. And then we have open house on Small Business Saturday. We also have the third committee is the design committee. They do the facade grants, the green and clean, the union partnerships, and corridor banners that we have just taken on from Logan Utilities that we're going to help them out with. And lastly, we're Economic Vitality Committee. That committee works with actually fostering business. And we've been a weak link there, but that is one place we have picked up our pace in this last year. And we have awesome people on this committee. Aaron from the planning department, Lita Rouser from Small Business Administration, and John Michael Price is on there. So if someone is coming into our area and they want to have some questions, we also have 3 realtors in our organization. So if we have a business person coming into town, Lita can hand feed them right into 16 different consulting services that they provide. So even though we aren't all that and a slice of bread, we can hand them off to them. We have the planning department, if they come in with a facade grant application, then we can kind of streamline that. And then we also are working on the downtown vacant building ordinance. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag there, but we, with the powers to be on our committee, who are truly in the know, they've been able to give us some direction, and we've been able to fine-tooth comb that. And we're meeting with a couple different downtown groups here in the coming month. And our goal is to have it ready for the council to look at by the last of the year. So we will surprise you with that, but we've got some steps in order to, I'm very excited about that. So with that said, if you have any questions or wonder about anything from Logan's Landing.
I had a question, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this one's curiosity, your Petunia partnership.
Pardon?
Tell me about your Petunia partnership.
Okay, you guys truly donate a lot of money to the Petunias. Many years ago, it was started out with a couple girls who just wanted to put some, Pam Lehman and, yeah, Kathy. So they put some flowers in some pots, and they chose the wrong ones, and they died. And they come back the next year, and they put some petunias in the pots. And so over about 2 or 3 years, they found a petunia, which is the bubblegum petunia, that is hardy, and it will withstand the heat and so forth. And from that, it just grew and grew and grew. So we get some funding because of our notoriety with that, and then we give that to Dave Wagner from the Corrections Department, and then he works with his clients, and it's been a real therapeutic undertaking. It's just a win-win situation. And so this year, we had a tour, and I think some of you might have been invited to that tour, and it was right after Mother's Day, and the petunias are just coming on really pretty, and we all met out there, and Dave and his staff took us through their greenhouses and showed us the petunias, and it was just a wonderful experience. And the reason that we do want to continue to support that petunia endeavor is because it is a part of the history, and a lot of times, you know, some of the stories that we've heard is when grandchildren are coming into town, they know when they're home when they see the petunias. So we've just kind of kept that going.
I didn't realize you were a partnership in that. I knew at one time, is Dave still on the board for?
Dave is still on the design committee,
Okay.
and Dave is invaluable to us, and he supplies
believe
us
it,
people a
yeah.
lot of different ways. So we receive funds, private funds, and then we funnel them. Now, I know you guys now have taken over, and it's so huge that we couldn't support it with what we do, but we just add to it, and we want to keep it going as, you know, as well as.
No, don't blame me. I was just curious. Didn't have any idea about that.
It started with Logan's Landing with
Yeah.
those girls.
Can I ask you about the facade grants? Have you know, what do we do in 2025 with your facade program?
Okay, so with the facade grants, at present, we have about $7,000 that we have given out, and we have about $13,000 that's pending. And that's always a guessing game, because when it's pending, you know, you might, to do a facade, you need to have an application, 2 estimates, pictures before and pictures after. And it needs to be approved with the planning department, who is on that committee. And so at this point, when people, sometimes they verbally give you a commitment, so you say, okay, I got to set a little money aside for that. Sometimes they give you part of an application, so it's a total constant follow-up when they're pending. And sometimes the pendings will drop off. But it usually works out that, you know, we've always been able to support them with the help of your funding.
So you're saying you have $13,000 of people asking you to do projects, but you're only sitting on a pile of money of $7,000?
No. What I'm saying is 7,000 has committed.
Okay.
And that 13,000 are pending. So we haven't paid that 13,000, and some of them don't have completed applications, but we have them out there just as a, knowing that they could come in. But Susie, it's a little trial and error, we've got a little bit reserve on that, but it's like the Downtown Development Network just applied. We're just getting ready to pay them for some beautiful doors that they put at 208 4th Street, down by the attorneys. And that door is so beautiful. So I went down there to take an after picture of it, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we should drop off an application to everyone. These attorneys down there, because just changing those front doors, upgrading them, I will say, adds so much to them. And mostly with the $5,000, what you usually are getting are awnings, windows, doors, lots of doors. I mean, the Calvary Presbyterian Church door, I think that was $10,000 to $15,000 on that one, and it came out absolutely beautiful, and they restored it back to their historic preservation there. So we kind of get the smaller improvements, but your front door says everything. In your windows, the lighting, so we really are happy to be able to provide that service. And then you've heard of Bill. So then he takes the improvements that are, a lot larger than what we can handle. And then he also makes referrals for us, and we appreciate that as well. So we did just get a new chairman for the facade committee that we're very excited about, and his name is a household word here too, and that is Jeffrey Todd. I've known him for a long time. It's Jeff Todd from the Cass County Title. So he's going to know people coming and going, and he's going to be in the vein too. So, but a lot of times, like just with the attorney, when or the Downtown Development Network, when they do that, it draws attention, and it's like neighbors just start talking and talking. So we'll probably get some business around in that little area again. But Esperanza, they did their doors on their storefront 3 months ago. But it takes somebody, it can take them 3 or 5 months to really complete a project, because they'll talk about it, and then they'll do it, and then they take some time to get some estimates, and then they'll get their paperwork, and something will be incomplete, and then we follow it up, or maybe they'll have some issues with the planning department. Maybe they're using the wrong color or something, or, type of wood or trim or whatever. So that keeps them in check too. But it's very interesting, and it really does initiate that next improvement. Sometimes you think, is $5,000 a lot for a $15,000 project? But people are tickled to death for $5,000 that they don't have to pay back, Now, it is a 50-50 match, so we'll pay up to 50% with 2 estimates. But, yeah, it's a wonderful project.
So I guess the looming question is then, are your finances, I mean, I know you've spent some time since last year when you were fairly new at this, getting everything in order, everything looking good these days, or?
Okay, so we are still on the struggle bus, but we have a different program that we're working, and so we are working a lot smarter. So when we plan an event, we simply budget it before we go into it. And that wasn't a real practice before. It's like shooting in the wind. Let's go out and do it, get foot traffic and, spray and pray that it works. But we really go out with an objective now. So we try to have our events pretty much paid for before we set forth to do it. So that has been a struggle, because it is, it's just like the State Theater said, all of us nonprofits keep dipping in the same buckets, and that gets old. But we're thinking outside the box, and we've got some ideas for down the road, but we feel we want to have some more time to mature. I've put tons of processes in place, so now it's not so much a guessing game. Now we're we're going back through and say, okay, what worked and what didn't, and let's fix what didn't. We're trying to fix everything. I mean, we really have put a lot of processes in place, and I think that was key.
So do you think you need the same funding in your operating as it's been in the past then, or? I only ask you that because of the fact that you moved into the building. It should minimize some of the operating costs you had before, and would it be better used to shift some of that to the facade, or do you still need the operational aspect?
Well, the facade is always hit and miss, so you need to have a little cushion there, which we have a little cushion there. We could always use more funding. We do operate at a loss. Each month, it is less than half of what they were operating with. And we feel like this next year is going to be a real turnaround. And we've got the taste that we're counting on next year in '26. And we've already we've had some small little meetings on that, and we've got some ideas on that. But we're definitely going to budget that, because that's a toughie. And we've already know that we've lost some funding from that, a big chunk of funding from that. But I still think we're smarter now, and I think we're working smarter. Yes, we can always use more money, but we're starting to make good ground. I would rather come back to you when we were in dire need. I want to see us through this, and I know that it's tight everywhere. I know that we've used the same amount of money for years and years and years without having to come to the table and ask for you for more. But, our treasurer and I, we sat down just, over the weekend too, and we looked at it again and we go, we can work out of this. We really think we can work out of this.
Pardon?
How much money do we give them?
You get $20,000 a year for the facade, and we give them $12,500 a year for operational needs.
We haven't increased that in 5 years.
No, I'm
Time
sure
we
it's
increased it was, quite honestly.
because when
See,
we
the
were,
question I had was, I'm looking at it from the operational side with you in the building now, and us, you don't have rent, you don't have utilities to speak of. I mean, I thought maybe you could shift some of your operational to your facade if that was possible.
and I mean,
But I'm just asking, I'm not saying that's what I want to do, I'm asking you if that would,
yes, that would always help us. We are just down to bare bones. We can't really cut anything else.
yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but we have such great volunteer help, but the expenses in your salary.
Yeah.
We can manage our events now that we're learning how to budget them and to get your funds up before you plan your event. But it's the dang operating expenses that are,
Leave things be for now, if that's the way, and what I would suggest is that, as we look at this down the road next year, that, you bring your financials so we can see where you're at, and, because we appreciate the fact that what you do benefits us. We don't have to deal with those smaller projects in the downtown area, like you said, Bill handles most of the bigger stuff with the RDC, and then you can do the smaller projects.
because the smaller projects, they still take a lot of manpower and a lot
Yeah.
of follow-up and a lot of hand-holding. But, we get this little vacant building ordinance. Well, we recommend that to you. We put some initiatives in there to make people be serious and not use these buildings for storage. And, alternatives to papers in the windows. And then put a process in place for us to be pleasantly persistent, to stick with that ordinance and be sure that people can follow it up and help them with ideas and resources to, not sit on that building for 3 years and say it's for sale. It needs to be for fair market value, or, you can't just jack the price up at Timbuktu. So we've got the good people helping us with that ordinance, and we'll present that to you.
I wish you the best on that one.
Yeah, we understand. What we did is we took some other Main Street ordinances and took the best of them.
Yep.
So we've kind of modeled off some other people's, so we don't have to start from scratch.
You're planning on having a Taste of Cass County again in 2026?
Yes.
And I would encourage you, I think that that's one of the better events that we do in Logansport. And so I just say to you, as you're organizing it and putting it together, if you see that it's, that you need some money to be able to make it be successful, I prefer to spend money to make an event be successful as opposed to cutting cost and then having people complaining because it didn't live up to the standards that you had before. So I just encourage you to take a look at that, and if you see that you're struggling with that, you should come see us about it.
I will take you up on that, Susie. I would rather do something like that than just take a blanket, Let's just walk before we run, but I assure you, you are going to enjoy the taste this year, or in
Okay.
26. Just
All right,
from the.
well, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Are you good with that? All right, thank you.
Thank you for your concerns and your questions and support. We need it all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation, appreciate it.
That is everybody on the agenda.
They're not going to Memorial Center?
Huh?
Or Habitat?
Oh, Habitat's not here. Yeah, I sent you some information. It was just for that purpose, but I want to run through it real quick. Thank you for reminding me. Malcolm kind of sent us the layout on how the processes will move forward on the memorial home. I just wanted everybody to be aware as things started to happen, you've got the preliminary timeline, the preliminary funding, and how that money will be spent over time, and then a brief summary of how it all kind of fits together. But I would caution everybody with the statement that if it runs true to the MSRP program, some of these costs will be higher than they were projected. So we will have to possibly look for some additional funds once this thing gets going. But he's on top of it. Him and Tim, who was here earlier, are moving things right along. Tim will be our regional guy with whatever the North Central, I never can remember the acronym, but they'll be our grant administrators and whatnot through the process. So are there any questions about the timeline I sent you? You have a chance to look through it. But like I said, I just wanted everybody to kind of be up to what's happening with it and be aware. We've got two individuals coming Monday who may be the project overseers. According to Tim, we don't have to put that part out to bid, so Malcolm has been doing all the legwork on this, but he's reached out to several, and we're going to meet a couple of them at the memorial home. So I'm leaving all those decisions up to me. That's way above me, but he's got a good sense for that. He's dealt with this sort of thing in the past. But
That money's already funded, that money's already ready. If we have project managers coming in, but that's already included in the money that
well, they're going to give us their quote. There's an estimate in here, but the first person he talked to came back with a number 3 times that amount. So he kind of dismissed them quickly. He said they're way out of bounds. So I think if you look on your chart, I think there was like $100,000 allocated for that particular project, or that piece of the project. If you look on the very last page there. Right. Project development fees. you've got the 56,000, the professional fees for 100, and this guy came in at around 300, I think, the first guy he talked to. So he's got two new ones, and they were actually people that were recommended by both Indiana Landmarks and another group that he's been working with. I've told you, he's working with the Jeffries Foundation a little bit, hoping that they're going to come through with a grant right after we get done with this one. And they gave him some names also, so they're kind of working with us to make sure we get the right people in line. And that's that. Chad, did you have anything you wanted to bring up you've been patiently sitting here all day. Did you have something you wanted to chat about, or?
Well, I can tell you a little bit about the paving.
That'd be great. Come on up.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to make it quick.
No problem. I mean, I know you're looking at the.
Yeah, the next application.
Projects out to Central to start.
Yeah, I'd say in a perfect world, you get everything you'd like paved in that season, but most of you know our paving is going to be postponed, most of it. So November 10th, they'll begin Mole Road this year, and then potentially they will do Cass Plaza and West Rose Lawn between George and Market. And the rest of it will be started in the spring next year. The plant opens about April 20th, around there. And they'll focus on doing the rest of our streets, not this year's grant application. It's not like we're going to lose any money or anything, it's just a postponement. Because the only thing with the grants is you can't start paving like on a third grant application before the
Right.
previous two are finished.
Yeah.
And we'll be okay, there won't be any problems with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we've got the two funds, separate funds set up for each one, and, now, have you got any idea? I mean, I know you said you were gonna send, some streets out to, Kurt to give you some quotes.
Yeah, they're
to
working on
start.
estimates right now. I don't have a list with me.
Yeah,
I ask you to provide us with a list, because people ask us all the time about streets being paved and why they're not being paved, and so I ask you to create a list, and if you could show us like the three that you just mentioned, I couldn't write them down fast enough, so.
Okay.
November 10th, I
Yeah.
know we're doing Mall Road.
Mall Road.
And then you said two
Cass
other.
Plaza Drive,
Yeah,
and then West Rose Lawn from George Street to Market.
basically from Speedway up to
right,
George.
Speedway up to George, but, and then we can tell people, so that's what we're getting done this year, and then you say the plan opens again on April 20th, and this is our list of our projected projects
Yeah.
being done on April 20th.
Well, there should be a list of that already from the
Yeah,
last.
I'll give you there's a resolution. We passed a resolution that outlined all the streets
I
in it.
know that,
Suzie,
but people aren't gonna read that resolution, Dave.
It's on Logansport Reimagined too, all of the roads.
What?
All of the roads are listed on Logansport Reimagined.
Is it easy to find?
We're talking about old people.
Yeah.
Well, they've,
I could go through, Yorktown is another one,
Yeah, I knew Yorktown and Mall Road and.
West
That's what I
Broadway,
tell people. and-
West Miami.
Okay.
But what I'm getting at is, we've got a resolution, and we can all look at that resolution and look at what the streets left that he didn't name that are gonna be done in the spring. This
I'll
year.
send you this link.
Early this year.
January,
Yeah, it'll be
February.
January, February, yeah.
Will you
Raining and repaving it.
send that to me?
Yes.
If you email that to me, I appreciate it. Thank
I'll
you.
email
Will
it
the
out
curb
to
cuts
all
on
of
Mall
you.
Road be done by then?
I'll email it to
Yes.
all of you, so you have it.
What'd you say?
You're
I
welcome.
asked him about the curb cuts on Mall Road, because I just saw at Board of Works last week, there was Frontier had, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, but most of those were post holing on the side,
Oh, okay.
boring underneath. No, and that's been the biggest problem this year and going into next year is finding ones where they have, that are clear, that there aren't gonna be any cuts, where all the lines have been replaced with copper or plastic.
Well, yeah, I see they're back on the west side off and on in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Well, and what about the road, the street that goes up in front of the hospital, like, I mean, that road.
oh, Michigan Avenue?
Yeah, Michigan Avenue, that's just a mess, like.
Highway.
Yeah, it's state highway.
State does those.
We have nothing to do with
Yeah,
that.
fix that.
We're supposed to
The
start
state.
late next year, I believe, on that one.
late next year,
That's why you see
2026?
people out there all the time. They're doing all the surveying and,
They're also going to do
Getting it
repair
all
on that
mapped
river
out.
wall also.
yeah.
Well, they're always tearing it up. I spend a lot of time on that road now, and they're constantly tearing it up, and then they don't fix it properly. I mean, I don't know how to do
yeah.
road. I promise you, if I did road work, it would be better than what they do.
It's like World War I, no man's land. I know. Dodge the holes.
Yep.
Well, I don't have time to learn how to pave roads, but who knows?
Okay, well, I sent you the link, so if you just scroll down, it shows all of the community crossings ones and all of the roads. They're all listed.
That's why we
How
have
about that?
All email to everybody.
Click.
And if you're interested in the list, we're considering passing for next year.
Have your phone number, BJ.
Dave's got a list.
Dave has
Yeah.
a list?
What's that?
The list that we're considering passing in October to get paved next year.
Send me that list?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got it. I'll send it to everybody.
Oh, and
I've had
so
a
when-
couple things going on.
So,
Just
when you-
for
okay. All right, thank you.
Is there anything we could possibly do about the ripples out here on Broadway?
I talked to utilities, but they've got several possible water line cuts there.
Oh, okay.
I might talk to Kurt if there's something we can do, maybe just in the driving
Yeah,
lane.
if you're gonna turn, you almost have to ride in the bike lane because it's.
Is it the ripple bouncing?
It's almost the
Yeah.
whole block.
I know it. It's bad.
You just need a better car.
Just while you're driving that stretch, just go, this is sure better than Michigan Avenue. Then
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only do so much.
Erie Avenue on the list. Any spot on Erie Avenue?
Oh, boy. Well, I know what you're talking about, the big sinkhole,
Oh, yeah.
Where's that at on?
close to like Ninth.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, when we patch, sometimes we'll just stop there and dump a bunch, level it off. But it's just a terrible low spot, and just gets squished out and sinks. But then Second Street's potential project, a continuation of what's been done before, so we really didn't want to put that on our list, not knowing what's going to eventually happen. Because I imagine they're going to narrow it like they did to the section that's been finished.
unfortunately, last time we put in for funding on that one, we got denied.
Oh,
So,
was all the grindings.
the millings?
Yeah.
Well, we used to distribute them back to community for like driveways and stuff, but now we take them back to Central, they're reused, and they come off our bill. So it saves us money. Yeah.
all right. All right, anybody else got anything? Thank you, Chad.
Sure.
Thanks, Chad.
I have a few questions that I'd like
You
to
got-
have answered.
Sure.
I'd like to know when Republic is picking up the their bins, and like they have the old Rumpke bins and their bins, when are they getting rid of those?
My trash ones got picked up today.
Really?
Your old
Trash-
ones?
My brown trash can got picked up. My recycling's still full and out there, but my brown trash can got picked up today. They had,
Do you get trash pickup on Mondays?
no,
Okay.
Fridays. They had a big white pickup truck with a big trailer that they were loading them on.
According to Jacob, and I think this is accurate, he said that basically Republic wasn't going to pick up any of the brown ones because they said Rumpke on them, and
Yeah.
they don't want those totes. So from what I understand is, I think Jacob said they contracted with the same guys that put the Green for Life ones out, and we're going to pay them to pick them up if Republic doesn't, and just, I mean, we're deducting more off of the bill that their last payment would be.
So we
To
would-
pay for the
we
other
would
guys
deduct
picking 'em.
that cost of having those people pick up those totes off of our Republic bill.
That's what I've been told. That, Kelly, do you know any more than that on that?
That's our position.
Yeah.
And
Because we got to get them out of there.
Yeah.
But Republic is going to pick up the blue recycling totes.
That's my understanding. They were going to pick the blue ones up, right?
They gotta empty them first.
Pick the ones up that had their names, that's Republic. the
Yeah.
big-
Message.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's not
I did see some, the brown was gone today, so
That's good. I didn't see any Republic
Went out
Service
front of my
trucks
house, it's gone.
working, but I did see GFL
Yeah.
trucks working.
Well, they were out there Sunday.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Guy from Republic in the truck, he was emptying the trash out of the brown tub, and he set it back, and I was gonna pull it back to the property where I was at, and he said, we're gonna come back and get this.
Okay.
in The street.
Good.
Public guy told you that? Oh, okay, that's fine then.
Some
I don't
people
know
don't know
the
for
guys
sure
picking at
what
mine
they're
or
doing.
Republic or not. They had on vests. They didn't have on any.
But anyways, we've got a backup plan if Republic doesn't pick them up, is what I guess I'd say. Seems like we do.
The dump.
Well, yeah, the guys that are picking them up for Republic said, well, we'll pick up the ones not picked up at the same time for you guys if they won't pick them up. And so I don't think they knew all of that. I talked to their lawyer this morning, who was sitting in the Miami airport getting ready to fly to Europe. But, so he's really worried about it on there. But that, he wasn't aware of a bunch of this stuff. And
One that wrote you the last letter?
yeah, yeah, and he was like, oh, well, oh, okay, I didn't know those things, and so, you know, they sit in an office out in Arizona, wherever they're, Phoenix, I think it is, on there, and so he thought we were in Ohio, was one of the, so. We'll get that straightened out before.
Do you have something else, Suzie?
I wondered if, has there been any lawsuit filed based on the Patel Super 8 Hotel?
As of my knowledge, no. I mean, they can have a file, as you know, and we don't get served with it for.
Because the time is up. Like, if they can file now, because the.
Oh, the time, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wondered, I'd like to know if that.
Yeah,
Our
our insurance company is handling the representation on that. So I don't know if that's gonna.
They are, like, it wasn't denied. They are handling it. It was accepted.
It would, so I've sent all the stuff. The mayor sent all the stuff they'd requested from him.
The city doesn't have any liability. I don't understand why our insurance company would be covering that. Why would they defend us in that lawsuit?
Ask me that again.
Well, we determined that the city doesn't have any liability in that.
Well, we did. I mean, that was our feeling. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's binding on them. Their attorney kept saying he thought we did have liability, but I think that there is not. Our company is actually figuring out how to handle representing the mayor and them, and we may have to break that apart because of conflicts of interest. But they are at least, it wouldn't shock me the way they resolve cases, that they would be resolving this case, because they don't spend a whole lot of money fighting them. I mean, we've paid some money, and it's like, damn. But anyway, that's where it's at right now.
Okay, but it wouldn't cost us any money. It's not gonna, we paid our insurance premiums, and they're just taking, we don't have to pay them directly any additional money. It's not a contract. We're not signing a contract with them to represent us in any kind of a lawsuit based on.
An insurance company.
Right.
We have in the past, and I don't know how, I don't ask them if they don't bill us, but there's a $10,000 deductible we've had on these claims, and in the prior cases, they did send us a bill for the $10,000. I don't know if, Tyler, I think you were the clerk treasurer at the time. No, Dwayne was, the last time they did that, on there. Last couple of cases they've settled, because we were disputing them settling them. Didn't want them settled, frankly. But they control that, that's their
And so we
choice.
have to pay an additional $10,000 on top of the contractual services money that's already been paid for this.
That could be yes. I mean, that's like your car insurance.
Yeah, I understand. And I want to make sure, it also can increase your premiums when you have claims and you have lawsuits like that. And we just settled a lawsuit with Johnny, what's his name?
Canones?
Johnny Q. And, you know, so I don't want our insurance premiums, I mean, that's what happens. You have claims and your insurance premiums go up. So I want to know how much money this is costing us. I want to know if the city has to pay additional money for a deductible, and if we have to pay if our insurance premiums go up, I want to know that.
Insurance premium, we'll find out when that comes through on the budget, when we get their bill for it next time.
I would like to know if and when Mr. Patel gets paid and how much he gets paid. I would like to know if and when Mr. Patel gets paid and how much he gets paid.
To the extent we know, I'd be glad to share that with you. I mean, they do typically have to have us sign off. And we just did the one with the gentleman you mentioned, very much over our objection, frankly, on that one. On it, because if you start settling them, then every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to file a case, and that's why we don't like to talk about them and bring them up in public meetings and whatnot, so.
I guess the problem, I guess the quandary that I have with all that, Kelly, is, you know, like you said, it seemed like everybody was in agreement. The city wasn't responsible, but yet we're all going to be responsible in the end. I mean, there's nothing right about that at all in my mind.
I don't see how the city has
And-
any liability. We don't have any, I mean, no one from the city agreed to pay any of that money to that hotel at all, not a dime. I mean, we didn't even, I had no idea people were even staying there.
I didn't know it until
And I'm-
I got a call from Ms. Turner or an email from Ms. Turner, but I guess I just don't see I mean, there's right and then there's the legal system, I guess.
Disagree with you. I disagreed with them in the past on some of these things as to how they
I
handle
wouldn't
them.
even, I don't know why you even asked them to take this lawsuit on, because we already determined that none of us, you said and we said that we all agreed that the city didn't owe any money, so I wouldn't even have turned it over to our insurance company. I mean, that would be Chris Martin turning it over to his own private insurance company.
We turn it over to them, we have to notify them we've had a claim made or we don't have coverage, because we have to alert them that there is something there so they can protect our interest.
Yeah, because we have a tort claim, I understand that, but I thought you determined and we all agreed that the city had no financial responsibility, and this is just the kind of stuff that needs to be avoided, which,
Part of it's the whole litigation system that we've are living in, that they claim against the city because we're there and because city of Logansport's attached to the mayor. And so they'll say, well, we'll agree with you, Lehman, that we aren't going to pay, the city's not responsible. If they got a chance to get some collection from us, they will keep us on the hook for a while until you fight it out. And then that's where our insurance companies makes the call and say, well, we'd rather pay this off and be done with it as opposed to fighting it out through the system, because it's costing. I mean, we've had guys in jail that have been paid money. That's like, Jesus, for stuff that should not. I mean, and we never did in the old days when we took care of it most of it in-house, because you just encourage more of it, and it's, so, yeah,
I'm not in favor of any of that. I totally disagree with any of our tax dollars being spent one penny. And that goes with, well, that doesn't matter. I just disagree with us spending any money on it. No, I do, but it's been long enough. I do, I'll save it for the next time. It's fine.
All right, 7:34, I think finance came to an end.
You said this was gonna be a quick meeting.